Hello friendos! Today we'll be doing something I've always wanted to do, a Pokemon challenge run. What challenge will I be attempting? Can I beat Pokemon Fire Red with every in-game Pokemon only able to use Metronome? If you need a refresher, Metronome is a status move that randomly selects an attack and fully executes it. In Fire Red alone, the number of potential moves Metronome can incite is enormous. I got this idea from Mah-Dry-Bread, who did a similar video a week ago where he took a full team of Clefairy and Clefable equipped with Metronome through the game. Make sure to check out his video linked in the description. My run is going to be similar to Mah-Dry-Bread's, but will have a few marked differences. First, in his run, his full team of Clefairy and Clefable were the only ones using Metronome, as that evolutionary line is the only one to learn Metronome via level up. All opposing Pokemon behaved normally while he was forced into finger-wagging combat. This time around, every single Pokemon in the game will be the proud owner of a single 40 pp Metronome and nothing else. From my rivals Charmander to Route 1 Pidgeys to the Elite Four, it's all Metronome. This means that I'll be able to use any Pokemon I want, but here are the rules. 1. Only Metronome. HMs are fine, but unusable in battle. This also means no struggle, so if for some reason I can't use Metronome, I'll need to load a recent save and try again. 2. No glitches, cheats, exploits, etc. That takes the fun out and kinda defeats the purpose. 3. No items in battle. Held items are okay, and the use of items outside of battle is fine. For the record, and to be completely transparent, I'm recording this as I progress through the game and in sections. This means I don't know how all this is gonna end, or if I'm even gonna be able to do it. Comment down below if you think I'm gonna be able to complete this challenge. I'm pretty sure I can complete this challenge, as it seems like it's a nice starter challenge for a challenge newbie like myself. Though, it'll put my mental fortitude through the ringer, so we'll see how it goes. With that, let's hop into this. Using the Universal Pokemon Randomizer, I switch out Bulbasaur for Clefairy, and I name it Subscribe, you know, as a reminder. It's got a lonely nature which raises its attack stat and lowers its defense stat. I believe that Metronome itself is unaffected by stats, but the moves it rolls work the same, so its nature should be fine for my purposes. Clefairy's ability is Cute Charm, giving us a 30% chance to cause infatuation on contact if the opposing Pokemon is of the opposite gender. This has the chance to come in clutch as we move through the game. The first Metronome of the run is our rival's Charmander, who uses Leech Life. Subscribe retaliates with a Steel Wing before Charmander uses Lovely Kiss to put Subscribe to sleep before finishing her with a Stab Fire Blast for the KO. Not the greatest start. Moving into Route 1 to retrieve Oak's parcel, I run into a Pidgey. It opens with Psybeam, very ineffective. I return the favor with an Icicle Spear for the one-hit KO. In the exact next patch of grass, I'm put in my place by a Rattata that hits me with a Stomp and then an Arm Thrust, taking my health below a third. I get lucky with a Blizzard while Rattata boosts its stats with Minimize, causing Subscribe's Fury attack to miss, leaving Rattata open to hitting a flinching Pin Missile and then Submission for the KO. This is 2 losses in less than 10 minutes. I'm not feeling great. It's very apparent that the first hours of this run are going to be brutal, as I just don't have the HP to tank anything, and my lonely nature isn't really doing me any favors here. The move pool that Metronome draws from just has too many high power moves that can come at a moment's notice. I begin grinding before attempting the trainer battles in Viridian Forest and then Brock. This early on, every single encounter can lead to an easy KO by the opponent and happens 3 more times in rapid succession. I leave my Viridian Forest grind with Subscribe at level 13, and I caught a backup Pidgey that I leveled to 9. He's backup because at any moment Subscribe could use Self-Destruct or Explode, and I'd be KO'd back to the Poke Center for the 7th time, and I'm doing my best to avoid that. But Brock time. The battle opens, and I finally have enough speed to begin making the first move. Subscribe starts with Outrage for amazing opening damage that carries for 3 whole turns. This knocks out Geodude and gets rid of half of Onix's health. This, followed by 2 turns of nothing, and then Subscribe having enough, self-destructs, taking Onix with him. Thank God I brought back up Pidgey, or I may have shed some tears here. I'm hoping that Misty goes just as well as Brock did. If every gym goes just like this, I'm gonna have this challenge done in no time. As of right now though, I'm feeling pretty good, and it only took about 2 hours to work my way here, even with my garbage luck. Up next, we grab the Dome Fossil, because I was feeling saucy. I also make sure to pocket a Moonstone for later. The extra stats we get from evolving Subscribe will go a long way against Misty, and then our rival fight. I also white out 7 more times going through the cave due to trainer battles and a complete stubbornness to run away from fights I'm obviously about to lose. Finally though, I'm in Cerulean City. We make a beeline for the gym. Since I skipped a lot of trainer fights after Brock, Subscribe isn't as strong as she could be. Any wrong rolls here could hurt. The gym battle starts and we both queue up our Metronomes. Staryu is faster, so it gets to attack first and it uses Belly Drum. It boosts its attack stat by cutting its HP in half. Next, I roll Sleep Powder. Half dead and asleep, I'll take it. From here, I get off a Blizzard before Misty uses a Super Potion. I get off an Agility to raise my speed and Thrash finishes the job. Misty then sends out Starmie, which uses Dizzy Punch, taking out about a third of my health before I get off 2 more Thrashes compared to Starmie's Peck. Great trade. From here, Starmie springs up with Bounce. I hurt myself in confusion, and then it drops on me for the KO. I switch to Like, and I land a critical 4-hit Fury Swipe to take out Starmie. I'm feeling really good after that Misty fight. I haven't had to grind, and even with all the skip trainers, I'm doing reasonably fine. The time for grinding is coming, but it's not here yet, and for that, I'm thankful. But for now, time to face our rival. I'm immediately hit with Revenge before I use Stockpile, a nearly useless move in this situation. This, followed by a few turns of garbage moves before I finally hit a Fury attack for good damage. From here, I fly up while he preps Skull Bash that knocks me to 3 HP. I somehow roll Bullet Seed again, and he finishes me off with an Arm Thrust. Once Subscribe is knocked out, I'm unable to pull off any meaningful amount of damage on the rest of his team. I manage to knock out his Abra, but a Baton Pass forces out his Charmander, which promptly self-destructs in my face. So, remember that Moonstone I picked up? I obviously forgot to use it. Generally, you want to save an Evolution Stone for when a Pokemon has a more meaningful moveset, except in this case, she has all the moves. So I evolved Subscribe since there's literally no reason not to give her better stats. You may have also noticed that I accidentally turned off the battle animations. I think this happened when I turned up tech speed to try and speed things up. They'll be back on for the remainder of the run. The next rival attempt goes much better. I open with Banana the Nidoran in hopes that she can make something happen. 3 turns in and he goes down. I send in the Big Gun, who goes straight to work, one-hit KOing Pidgeotto. Next is Abra, a single stomp, and it goes down. I have speed on his team now, but 2 turns are wasted due to absolute terrible rolls from both of us. Eventually, a Psychic feints the rat, and I finish Charmander with an immediate Hydro Pump. Nugget Bridge and Route 25 aren't really an issue, just a lot of running back to the Pokemon Center because trainer fights last all too long, wasting a lot of PP and losing random amounts of HP. No whiteouts, just a long time. It's around this point in the game where my memory begins to fail me. I haven't played a Kanto game since about 2003, and it's becoming apparent that I played the beginning of the games a lot more than the ends of them. So, due to this lack of remembering, I make it to the SS Anne, but I run into Gary with only 2 Pokemon left, Subscribe, who was already paralyzed, and a level 10 Mankey. The odds were not in our favor, but due to some luck, Gary was able to beat me very quickly, so I didn't have to deal with too much of a beating for all too long. After this little beating, I go to Route 11 to fight a few trainers for levels, and I caught 2 more Pokemon so I'd have numbers on my side versus Gary. Trying again, Banana manages a bit better this time, hitting a Hydro Cannon early in the fight before using Explosion to take out both parties. Next up is Like. The battle would have been much easier if Like didn't keep rolling Fire-type attacks like Fire Blast and Sacred Fire. But eventually, a super effective Rock Blast does the trick to take it out. Earlier in the fight, Raticate was whirlwinded away, but he's brought back out now to face an Ancient Power that brings it down to a notch before Like is killed. A Giga Drain takes out the Raticate, and an Aeroblast easily takes out the Kadabra. With Gary out of the way, we have Cut! On to the Electric Gym! I finished the trash can puzzle on my 3rd try after a bit of wandering, and then moved on straight to Surge. Scary Face into a Bone Meringue for heavy damage to Voltorb. This is immediately healed by Potion though. I then hit a Sludge causing poison that takes him down to a Sliver before I finally hit a Fly. I leave Banana out. Pikachu rolls Defense Curl and I hit a Karate Chop. Barrage is up next doing admirable damage and I get an Ice Ball that runs on for a few turns. With poison from my Poison Barb and Ice Ball, I'm able to whittle him down for a knockout in just a few turns. Next is Raichu, who also rolls Ice Ball. Contact causes paralysis, and I go down next turn due to the continuous Ice Ball, but not without Poison Point causing poison status. This is very lucky. Like is next, the Ice Ball is insanely effective, obviously. This whole run, I haven't really been paying attention to the typings, so I wasn't prepared to deal with that continuous Ice Ball mentally. I send out Subscribe with my fingers crossed. Subscribe is also brought down by the Ice Ball in a critical hit. At this point, I'm just praying the poison ticks are enough. Shoelace goes down in one hit, and Hit the Bell is all I have left. Thankfully, Ice Ball is out of turns. Assist, Mean Look, Whirlwind, and finally, Bide. The poison tick finally takes out Raichu, and we get the victory. But oh boy, just barely. So now it's time to wander until I remember where to go. Cut should be helpful here, right? Eventually, I make it to Route 9 and then Rock Tunnel. At this point, the battle grind is starting to wear on me. My weaker Pokemon tend to get one shot, leaving Subscribe and Like to do most of the work. But with the randomness of battle, they go down a lot too. Add this to the fact that I don't really remember the layout of Rock Tunnel, and I never grabbed Flash. This is a recipe for an hour-long trek in a dark cave that restarts every few minutes due to whiteouts. This sucks. Eventually, I make it to Lavender Town, but I won't be able to do anything with the Pokemon in the Pokemon Tower as I don't have the Sylph Scope, so I just move on to Celadon. On the way through Route 8, I stop to battle every trainer and grind a bit in the grassy patch nearby. This helps immensely as battles begin to go faster and faster, and I'm having to return to the Poke Center much less often. By the time I reach Team Rocket's base, I'm able to quickly get rid of the poster guard and move in. Moving through, I make sure to fight as many trainers as I possibly can. I know Giovanni is probably going to suck, but hopefully my team can handle him. The real takeaway from this fight is that RNG is mean, and that at this point in the game, if Subscribe and to a lesser extent Like go down, the match really just drags out unless I manage a lucky explosion or a self-destruct. I lose this fight after 8 minutes of mashing the A button and hoping for a suicide attack that just never comes. After the loss though, I immediately return hoping for better Metronomes. I'm convinced that that fight was just bad RNG. Subscribe opens with an ineffective Drill Peck, but since it's got such a large level advantage at this point, ineffective moves manage to hit for reasonably good damage as long as they have good power. Here, I roll a critical substitute that saves me from Icicle Spear and Crab Hammer before I manage to roll a lucky Water Gun to finish it off. Next is Rhyhorn, and I somehow manage to hit a Guillotine for a one-hit KO. I fail a Teleport while the substitute takes a Flame Wheel before Secret Power hits good damage and Paralysis, followed by Bone Club that takes it out. This fight really shows the potential variance in battles. You either get amazing rolls and you pull out a win 4 minutes in, or you roll garbage and you have your whole team wiped in twice that time. At this point, I figure I'm just gonna go try to take out Erica before doing the rival fight in Pokemon Tower. If I can't beat her, I should at least be able to beat her underlings and grab more levels to prepare for Gary. Synthesis, Snore, Sonic Boom, Wish, and Sandstorm open this fight while Victory Bell is able to hit great damage on me and cause paralysis before my Wish heals me up. In the next few minutes, Subscribe is able to cause pitiful damage that Victory Bell just heals with moves like Soft Boiled and Milk Drink. Eventually, RNG takes pity on me during this already long fight and gives me Flail and then a Steel Wing to take it down. A few Metronomes into Tangela's turn, and I hit a Blaze Kick for a one-hit KO. Vileplume then comes out and hits 2 damaging moves in Meteor Mash and then Overheat, while I'm unable to do anything due to paralysis. I get nervous. I send out Like, who manages Cut, and then Sky Uppercut, a few Metronomes apart, while Vileplume is getting in solid hits. Rollout takes its health down for a few turns before it misses a Hyper Fang and I land a critical Rollout. I won on the first try, but it took forever. 8 minutes may not seem like a long time, but when all you're doing is mashing the A button and hoping for something good to happen, unable to do anything else, it's kind of an eternity. But for now, it's time to go fight our rival. Feint Attack causes massive damage. Pidgeotto fails a Nightmare before I nail a Constrict 1 turn later, and it goes down to a Water Gun. Easy! Execute is next. It goes down easy as well to a Quick Attack, and then a Surf as it fails the Sheer Cold. Gyarados gets hit hard with Smelling Salts, and then it barely holds on when I hit Bite. Waterfall barely hurts and Air Cutter doesn't do a whole lot. I heal with Morning Sun and then I use Swift. Gary's final Pokemon is Charmeleon, who gets immediately paralyzed by Thunder Wave but manages to hit an Ice Beam. I still don't think I'm going to get used to fire Pokemon using water and ice moves. It just feels so wrong. Anyways, a few turns of exchanging fails and weak attacks before Subscribe finally hits a Shockwave for the KO. The rival fight wasn't all that bad. It took a while, but it was totally doable. Subscribe was able to wipe his whole team without too much trouble. From here though, I don't really know what's next, so wish me luck. I took the Pokeflute, caught a Snorlax I named Trending, and moved down to Fuchsia City to gain some levels before grabbing the green tea that I'd completely forgotten about from the sweet old lady in the mansion, and then I gave it to the guard so I could get into Saffron. Time for Sylph Tower! Most trainers seem to have 4 to 5 Pokemon, which really drew out fights. It also really doesn't help that aside from 2, my Pokemon are just too darn weak at this point. I run into Gary and I lose track of how many times I've lost before I just go off and grind for 2 hours. And good lord, was it a long 2 hours. After my little grinding session, however, I go and attack my rival again. Pidgeot sucks. A third of the fight was him all by himself. Charizard then comes out and manages to hit Rock Smash, Dragon Rage, Powder Snow, Hyper Fang, and then a Wing Attack all in a row. I couldn't believe my luck. I just barely scraped by. If went down to any of those struggles Charizard was pulling out each turn, my whole rest of the team would have just followed quickly behind due to the massive level difference. But with that, we're going on to fight Giovanni. I decided to test where I was at in combat ability by just running straight into the fight without healing. The number of times I've started battle with Thunder Wave is, shocking. A few dud moves later, and I one-hit KO him with Razor Wind. Kangaskhan is next, and I quickly get damage in with Pound before taking a Hydro Pump for minimal damage. This really just shows off the large level difference here. Though, he starts up Thrash, and it continues a few turns as I roll Kinesis, Thunder Wave, and String Shot. Finally, I'm able to put it away with a Hydro Pump. Rhyhorn comes out and gets one-shot by Crabhammer. Nidoqueen takes a Swift before self-destructing and taking out Subscribe. But even with that self-destruct, since I have backup Pokemon in my party, I'm given the win! After Giovanni, I head to Saffron to take out Sabrina. I'm a bit cocky at this point, having beaten Giovanni so easily. Doom Desire opens it as Kadabra tickles me with a takedown. A Sludge Bomb takes it out immediately after. Mr. Mime takes heavy damage from Poison Tail and is then hit by Doom Desire I originally used against Kadabra. KO! Venomoth is next, and I use the first splash of the run. I mean, it had to happen eventually, right? Venomoth then uses Substitute, and it takes a few turns before I finally break it so I can finish her off with a Rock Tomb. Finally, she sends out Alakazam, and he puts me to sleep with Hypnosis before wasting the next 2 turns on Swagger and Recycle, completely missing his opportunity. Eventually, after some pussyfooting, I hit a Slash for the KO. Sabrina is down, and we have the Marsh Badge. That is 2 wipes in a row, so I figure I'm just gonna go fight Koga right away. I'm on a bit of a roll, so I'm hoping I won't have to do all too much grinding if I just keep up this little streak of luck. I figure I'm probably gonna need to grind a little bit for the Elite Four, but I'd like to avoid it till then. Koga's battle starts off really well, with Subscribe connecting a Metal Claw and then an Aurora Beam. Muck is next, and he's a bit more of a pain. He uses Ingrain, so he gets to heal each turn, even though I'm hitting moves. He just doesn't go down all too easily. Plus, he rolls Giga Drain, and Koga uses a Hyper Potion on him. I finally land a Pound, leaving him with almost no health before the Falling Hail takes him out. I roll another lucky Aurora Beam for a one-hit KO on Coughing. 3 down, 1 to go. I have an extremely hard time taking out his Wheezing. Duds waste the first turn, but I managed to get off a Sludge to poison Wheezing somehow? I thought Wheezing was immune to poison, but I'm gonna take it. Wheezing hits me good with a high jump kick, but my wish from the first turn kicks in for the heal. Maybe not the dud I thought it was. Full heal cures his poison, and then something bad happened. I use Transform. Transform copies the base PP of a move, but something about the Pokemon randomizer gives me only 5 Metronome uses after transforming, so it comes down to the wire. Wheezing uses Magnitude, and it gets an 8, but since I'm transformed, it misses with the Levitate skill. I heal with Soft Boiled, and then Wheezing self-destructs. That's the second battle in 3 that's ended with a clutch self-destruct. I'm playing with fire, and it scares me. I feel like my luck is gonna run out at any second, so I plan to just bum rush it to Blaine. I miss a Grass Whistle before Growlithe uses Explode. It hurts, but I survive with plenty of health. Ponyta is next, and I roll a Stomp for a one-hit KO. Rapidash is hit by Twister before we both use moves like Defense Curl, Spit Up, Sweet Scent, Magic Coat, Morning Sun, Fake Out, and Conversion before Rapidash finally hits a Submission and I hit Extreme Speed. Rapidash makes physical contact with Submission and ends up immobilized by Love. We share a few rounds of debuffs again before I'm hit with Blaze Kick and I hit Earthquake for the kill. Arcanine comes in and is unable to do anything of meaning before Subscribe hits 2 Ice Balls in a row for the win! I still cannot believe how well these last few fights have gone. From here, I just have Giovanni, the rival fight, the Elite Four, and then the championship fight. I fly back to Viridian City in hopes my luck just hasn't run out, and I'm immediately met with a Rhyhorn whose sole desire was to shut this down. The rest of this fight lasts for 16 minutes, as I was just too stubborn to give up my streak of luck before my final Pokemon finally bites the dust. My second attempt here was one of absolute beauty. It took only about 2 minutes. Subscribe opens with a Thunder Punch, but then I hit Crunch to kill Rhyhorn and start up an Ice Ball to kill Dugtrio. A critical Ice Ball kills Nidoqueen, Ice Ball takes out Nidoking, and then the final Ice Ball takes out Rhyhorn for the win. I couldn't believe it. I don't think my luck could be much better. Rival fight time, let's go. Pidgeot hits an Icy Wind and a Hyper Voice before I hit Torment. Eventually, I'm able to hit Thunder, which easily takes him out. Rhyhorn is next, and I hit a Quick Dig for the feint. Execute falls asleep due to Lovely Kiss, and I hit Hydro Cannon, and then an unnecessarily strong superpower for the feint. Gyarados goes down from a Leaf Blade, Psychic, and then a Vital Throw about 3 turns later. Alakazam comes out and uses Grudge. I use Vice Grip, knock it out. Grudge removes all the PP from Metronome, so I'm forced to switch Pokemon so I don't break the rules. I send out Otter Pop, and the final leg of this fight starts. I say final leg a bit sarcastically here, as this fight drags on for another 9 minutes. Due to terrible rolls, weak Pokemon, and Charizard using healing moves, I am finally able to put him away by putting him to sleep with Hypnosis and taking out his last sliver of health with Rock Slide. I'm so pumped at this point, I run to the Indigo Plateau to just take my chances on the Elite Four. But once I get there, it's brutally obvious this just isn't gonna happen yet. I fought Lorelei 15 times, with each fight lasting about 10 minutes, before I finally just gave up and decided to grind. I spent a lot of time inside that cave here, and then eventually using the Versus Seeker on the 6 bikers at the start of Cycling Road. After 6 straight hours of grinding and a short pit stop at the power plant to catch Zapdos, here's my team. It's time to rock and roll. If I can't do this after this much work, I'm about ready to just give up. This has taken so much time, and I'm about done. This is your last chance to comment down below if you think I'm going to be able to complete this gosh darn challenge. I try Lorelei with my new team and really quickly end up using Transform, giving me only 5 PP left on Metronome. That basically dooms the first run, so we're gonna try one more time. This time, opening with Psywave and then Meteor Mash, only taking a little damage, but taking out the Dugong. Cloyster takes a 5 barrage for massive damage before I toss a Hyper Beam his way. I switch to avoid the recharging period, and I hit another Hyper Beam. Slowbro roars and pulls out my Marowak. This Marowak puts him to sleep and then uses Frenzy Plant that gets quickly healed by a potion. It finally manages to poison it, and then a few turns later a Seismic Toss finishes the job. I send out AC the Onix. It was hot in the house when I named him. He's unable to do anything either though. Help Me is up next, and he pulls a Thunder Punch out of his back pocket to KO that Slowbro. I knew I caught him for a reason. Jinx is next, but I switch back to Otter Pop for the better damage. I start with Dragon Breath for damage and paralysis, before a bunch of Thrash moves and then a Stomp and Uproar for the KO. I took reasonably high damage with that fight, but I'm keeping him in as he's using Uproar, and that's just guaranteed damage. Otter Pop goes down and we're back to subscribe. After some non-useful moves, Lapras uses Grudge. If I don't switch out subscribe when Lapras goes down, all of his PP is just gone, and that run is over. Help Me starts out his bout with Icy Wind. Boo! Lapras uses Nightshade for good damage. I use Fire Punch and a critical Hyper Fang before Lapras gets restored. At this point, I'm sweating, and I manage a Hypnosis before a massive Thunder Punch. Lapras uses Heal Bell, and I know if I don't get in damage soon, I'm screwed. But I pull out Overheat for the KO. Massive. Up next is our fighting type boyo, Bruno. I used a few elixirs here and there to restore PP and revives and potions to get our health back a bit. Our team isn't perfect, but it's gonna have to do. Subscribe opens with Horn Attack for respectable damage and then misses the Whirlpool. A Bite finishes it off. Next, Hitmonchan. We both start with weak moves and some buffs and debuffs. I land a takedown for the KO. Hitmonlee is next. I manage to confuse it and it hurts itself, giving me ability to one-shot it with a pound. I keep buffing, but then it happens. I take in Sunlight. You know what that means! Solar Beam! Early on, I use a Nightshade for great damage, but I'm put to sleep and I'm forced to eat an Ice Punch and Rolling Kick. And Crunch. I'm running really low on PP at this point. I need to finish this quick. Then it happens. I roll Ice Ball. Again with the clutch Ice Ball. We finish off Bruno and we move on to Agatha after topping up our PP one more time. The problem with Agatha is that I constantly hit moves that just didn't affect her Gengars. Eventually, a Bite takes it out and we can move on to Golbat. It prepares a Solar Beam, but an Uproar takes it out. Though this Uproar lasts through to Haunter, who just isn't affected by it, so it misses. Again, annoying. My PP is halfway gone at this point, and a Sweet Kiss confuses Haunter before I'm able to use a failed Quick Attack, and then Swift, and then Vital Throw before getting Stun Spored for the paralysis. I get Petal Danced on a few times while paralyzed, but I manage a Rock Slide to take it out. I'm reluctant to waste more of Subscribe's PP on Agatha, so I switch to Otter Pop in hopes that he can do work. The first few turns are basically wasted before we manage damage. I just luckily managed to hit higher damage moves than she did for the most part, and I managed a Vital Throw and Future Sight. We're back to our second Gengar. RNG, please! Mega Punch doesn't affect it, and then it heals. Bone Meringue misses due to its ability. I confuse it with Supersonic so it hurts itself. Octazooka hurts it as well. A weak Pin Missile taunts me as it slacks off for a full heal. Eventually, after all of this, I hit a Hydro Cannon for the win. Big Boy Lance is next with his Gyarados up first. I Sand Attack, causing him to miss a Metal Claw, and then I roll Ice Ball, giving me enough damage for the KO and saving me HP. This also makes it possible to KO 2 Dragonairs in a row. Aerodactyl is faster, so it throws a Misstep. I use Tri-Attack, Knock Off, and then I take in Sunlight. Here it is, boys! Solar Beam for the KO. Dragonite is his final Pokemon, and I start with Dive, causing his superpower to miss. Luster Purge hurts about as much as the Facade, but he makes it so I can't switch out with Mean Look, so I'm stuck here. Submission. I get hit with High Jump Kick, and get a Badon Pass, so I can switch to Help Me to save PP, and just so he can make something happen. 5 turns later, and Dragonite is in a similar position, and Help Me is bleeding everywhere. But I'm stubborn, and it costs Help Me the fight. I switch back to Subscribe and nail the Double Edge for the win! We heal up and use our last PP restoring items. This is it. It's now or never. Can I do it? Pidgeot is up first as usual, and he takes immediate damage to Secret Power. He's not in the red, so he doesn't get healed right away by Gary. Nice. I manage a low kick for the KO. Next is Alakazam. We share some garbage moves and a false swipe hits him hard. I Sharpen, which will help in the future, and take a Thunder before Rapid Spin for the KO. Right on his next, and I rail him with a one-hit KO Giga Drain. Executor gets confused right off the bat and begins hitting himself, and then he gets hit with a Weather Ball, but it puts him into the red, so Gary heals him before the Aurora Beam. He uses another full restore, and I hit a superpower. He just won't die. Encore fails and I heal with Moonlight. Shockwave hits reasonably hard, and I finally hit a secret power for the KO. It took way too long. Gyarados is next, and he starts up Hail. I hit him hard with Strength before he starts to Uproar. I switch out to Otter Pop to try and avoid that damage from Uproar missing all my attacking moves with Health. We get both pelted with Hail. This brings him down enough for Gary to full restore him. Thunder Punch finally hits, which I'm pretty sure has only been used by Help Me at this point in its run, which is really weird and really funny. Also, KOs. The Big Daddy is here. I hit him immediately with Psywave for huge damage, bringing him to half health. He hits a scary amount of barrages before restoring some health with a berry. Rage knocks him down to half health. Reversal brings me below a quarter, and Extreme Speed brings me into the red before Seismic Toss drops me. I switch to Otter Pop and things are scaring me. Frenzy Plant brings him down to a quarter and he gets full restored. I miss the Fissure and I can't manage to roll a strong attack before getting paralyzed. I then accidentally disable his Metronome, so all he can use is the damaging Struggle. This battle is now on a timer, and if my weaker Pokemon get hit by his Struggle, they're just gonna go down. But I hit the saving grace of a Sludge Bomb that poisons him. I switch out to Help Me so he can perform his namesake and let the poison run his course. And with that, I did it! I completed my first ever Pokemon challenge, and the in-game clock reads 46:42, and oh my lord, I hate myself. Please, if you have any recommendations for future challenges, leave them in the comments down below. I definitely want to do another one. Maybe something a little more skill-based, or hell, I don't know, even just a silly one, because I'm a silly boy. If you liked this video, please leave a like and tell your friends about it. Also, hit that subscribe button and that bell so you can make sure to hit the next video. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching. Bye!